Today, we're going to read a story called Luke Goes to Bat. This is a realistic fiction, so it's a story that could happen in real life, but it's a pretend, a made-up story. So the characters are going to act like real people, and it's going to have a setting that could be a real place. Well, you've already learned a little bit about Jackie Robinson and a little bit of background knowledge about him because he is part of the story that you're going to listen to. Another thing to know is in the story, there's a little boy named Luke who's about your age, and he wants to help play a game called stickball. Well, the story takes place in Brooklyn, which is a large city in New York, and in that city, the kids played stickball. Stickball is baseball, but it's played on the street instead of a baseball field. And they often use a rubber ball instead of a baseball, and they use a stick or a broom handle instead of a bat. But it's played very much in a similar way to like when you play t-ball or coach's pitch or softball. So Luke really wants to play stickball like his big brother, but the other kids don't want him to play. So let's listen and read. And while you're listening, I want you to think about a time when you had to work hard to do something. And think about why it's important to keep trying when something is hard to do. It was Brooklyn. It was summer. It was baseball. All day long, the kids on Bedford Avenue played stickball in the streets, except for Luke. When you're older, his big brother Nicky told him, he's just a squirt, one of the other kids said, laughing. So Luke watched the games from the curb, and then he'd practice. He threw a ball against the wall next to the deli. He practiced his swing over and over again. He ran as fast as he could up and down the block. He wanted to be ready when it was time. So Luke is practicing and practicing so that maybe they'll pick him to play in the game. And at night, whenever the Dodgers were playing, Luke hurried up to the roof where he could see the lights of Ebbets Field. When he heard the crowd go wild, he imagined his favorite player, Jackie Robinson, had hit a home run. Someday, Luke thought, I will hit a home run too. I want you to pay attention to the illustration on these pages. Notice how Luke is sitting here, but his shirt, you can see it's still in color, his shirt and pants. But the rest of the page all looks like it's in grays and shadows. And you can kind of see through the people. That's because probably this is Luke's imagination. The ball players aren't really playing ball up on the roof of his building where he lives. Finally, one morning, the team was short a player. Frankie had to go to his aunt's. Who are we going to get? Hey, said Luke, what about me? Everyone was quiet. Ah, come on, said his brother. Give him a chance. We got nobody else. He better not mess up. They put him in left field. No balls came his way, so he just stood there. When it was his turn up at bat, Luke took a few practice swings, then stepped up to the plate. I'll show them, Luke muttered. The ball whizzed past. Strike one. Luke held the bat higher. Strike two. Luke was barely in position when the next ball flew past and the catcher yelled, out. Okay, so I want to look back at these pages. Why did Luke get a chance to play in the game? Was it because the other kids thought he was good enough? No, the only reason he got a chance to play is they didn't have anybody else because Frankie had to go to his aunt's. So Luke gets a chance to play, and then he strikes out. Is Luke going to give up? Is he going to just forget about playing ball? You stink, Luke heard. He got up to bat one more time, but struck out again. Sometimes it just goes that way, his brother told him. Frankie came back in the afternoon, so Luke spent the rest of the day on the curb. He was sure they'd never let him play again. Grandma was in the kitchen when he got home. I finally got a chance to play with the team, Luke told her. Grandma could tell that the game hadn't gone well. Not everybody plays like Jackie Robinson all the time, she said. Not even Jackie Robinson. Luke didn't smile. By the way, Grandma said, are you doing anything tomorrow night? Luke shrugged. Well, if you're so busy, someone else will have to go with me to the game at Ebbets Field. What? You mean a real game? Grandma held up 2 tickets. So Luke's grandma encouraged him to never give up. She reminded him that not everyone plays ball like Jackie Robinson, not even Jackie Robinson. I wonder what she meant by that. Ebbets Field was ablaze with lights, but this time Luke didn't have to imagine the game. Thanks for taking me, Grandma, he said. They watched the Dodgers and Phillies battle it out. The game went into extra innings. By the time the Dodgers got up to bat in the bottom of the 14th inning, the score was still tied 8-8 with 2 outs. Jackie Robinson was up. The crowd roared. Come on, Jackie, Luke yelled. The pitcher threw a curveball. Jackie swung. Strike 1, the umpire called. The pitcher wound up. He threw a fastball and Jackie missed. Strike 2! 3 balls followed. All eyes at Ebbets Field rested on Jackie. The Dodgers could still win. Luke shouted with the crowd, Give it to him, Jackie. You show him. Jackie looked around from under his cap, then dug his feet into the dirt. The pitcher began his wind-up. You can do it, Jackie, Luke whispered. You can do it. Suddenly, Luke heard the loud crack of a bat. When he looked up, the ball was flying over his head, flying over the scoreboard, flying over the walls of Ebbets Field. The crowd went wild. Luke stood up on his seat and cheered. You showed him, Jackie. What a game, Grandma said. See, you can't give up. Even Jackie Robinson's got to keep trying. When Luke got home, he ran up to the roof. The lights were going out at Ebbets Field. Come on down, it's bedtime, Nicky called. Just then, Luke saw a ball lying on the ground. Look, he said, picking it up. This is the home run ball that Jackie Robinson hit tonight. Nah, that's just some old ball a kid hit up on the roof, Nick said, laughing as he went downstairs. And that's when Luke saw him. It was Jackie Robinson himself. I hit that one for you, kid. Before Luke could say a word, Jackie ran to the dugout to join the other Dodgers, but he looked back one more time. Hey, kid, he said, your grandma was right. You can't give up. Thanks, Mr. Robinson. The final lights went out at Ebbets Field. Luke looked down at the winning ball and smiled. I won't, he whispered to himself. Okay, so do you think that Jackie Robinson really told Luke, you can't give up? Look back at the pictures. Was that really the ball from Ebbets Field? Or is Luke using his imagination? And he didn't. Let's look at the picture on the very last page. Did Luke give up? No, he didn't. You can see in this picture, Luke's back in the game, and he's hitting a ball. He's playing with the big kids and hitting the ball. So he practiced, and he didn't give up, and he was finally able to do it. I want you to go on to click next at the bottom of the page here, and go on to the discussion, and you're going to post something. But think about, why is it important to keep trying when something is hard to do? Think about the things you heard in the story about Luke. What did he do? Did he get mad and throw a fit? No. He kept trying and he kept practicing.